Such is life. Now, wait. It's a little bit black pill this stream chat, but if you listen very closely, you might hear something uplifting. You might hear. Do you hear it, chat? It's coming in loud and proud to me. I can't ignore it. Because you see, chat, there's a big win for the Middle Kingdom. The Chinese diplomat claims trans people are deformity in abhorrent tweet. Xu Jian says, who is the consul general of the People's Republic, so he's like the top ambassador for the entire country of China. He says, I don't mean to discriminate against sexual minorities, but tampering with gender is a deformity, not the evolution of human civilization. It is clear that the absolute minority is effectively forcing us, the absolute majority. It goes against the basics of the majority democracy that the West has long advocated. Ultimately, this is the beginning of the collapse of Western-style view of civilization that has swept the world over for the last several hundred years. Pink News throws a little tizzy about this. I can't believe mean, evil China would say something so terrible, so abhorrent, that we should, in a democracy, do what the majority of people want. It's just not fair. It's like the Nazis. It's like Nazis. They're gonna put us in concentration camps. By the way, did you know that in World War II we took all the Japanese people and put them into camps and on suspicion of being spies? I forgot about that until just now. I don't know what made me think of that. We don't really talk about that, do we? That we put all the Japanese people into concentration camps. Maybe we should do that with transgenders. I mean, we have historical legal precedent for putting enemies of the state into concentration camps until we win a war. We're in some kind of culture war, right? Maybe we can do that again. We can until we figure out what the heck is going on. I mean, FDR, we put that motherfucker in monuments. We put him on coins. He served 4 terms because everyone loved him so much. He made Social Security. He stole everyone's gold. He demonetized gold. He was a great president. He was a heckin' great president. And if he says that concentration camps are based, I don't know. Am I to disagree with heckin' FDR? Anyways, thank you, Zhu Jian. Just saying. However, there's a reason why I played this. And it's not because I'm desperate to talk about VTubers or Nick Rekieta. As many people in chat have noticed, there is a glorious red sun rising in the sky. That's right, chat. It's time for the China segment. Now, we're going to do a little bit of xenolinguistics. He has on his pec a tattoo of a Chinese glyph. And therefore, I invite myself to discuss with you all the Chinese language. I have looked up this symbol, and it does not make sense on its own. On its own, it just means anger. But if it were, as you see here, it says literary and classical Chinese, it means anger. You cannot use it by itself. On its own, it doesn't mean anything. However, if we were to talk, I'm going to sit back in my chair. I have a nice cup of Chinese tea and Chinese Chinaware from actual China, believe it or not. I'm sipping my Chinese tea. I'm relaxed. I'm in my zone. I'm in my element, ready to talk about the finer points of classical Chinese poetry. Chinese poetry, as all poetry of all languages, may contain double entendres. That is a word that has a second meaning based on how it's written or its context in the work. So, Chinese characters, especially complicated ones, are not wholly unique. They are composed of what are called radicals, which are smaller Chinese characters that compose the entire glyph. In this instance, you can see that in a character, there are 3 different parts. the top left, the top right, and the bottom. These each have their own meaning. In this instance, the three parts mean from top left to top right to bottom. The top left is woman. The top right is in addition. It means also. And then the bottom symbol means sort of collectively your intentions, your heart, your mind, your thoughts, your intentions. So together you have woman and intentions. But actually, the top character, the two characters there are one symbol. They have their own meaning. And as it explains here, the bottom symbol means heart or intentions, and the top symbol, which is two symbols, means slave. And together, the word slave and heart means angry. So he has literally tattooed, the story of this character is that, in the linguistic history of this character, is that a slave woman who was not happy with her master harbored anger. And now in modern Chinese context, it just means, as a particle, it can mean anger. So he has literally tattooed this disobedient slave character to his chest, which is interesting. That's why you shouldn't, as a white man, get Chinese or Japanese characters tattooed to your skin, because even though it's kind of looks like this is the symbol for anger, man, you really don't know the full classical history of that character, where it comes from, what it means, and how it means in a poetic sense when it's tattooed by itself on your skin. And to further cement that this is what this means, there is a Chinese speaker pointed out to me that there is a counterpart which is written almost exactly the same way, but it has a completely different meaning. This character has the same two symbols, but then a different one on the top right. It has woman, it has open, and then it has the word for intentions again. So this is a woman who is open, receiving, and that is her intentions. And it is the exact same thing. It literally means a woman who is receiving. And actually, that third character that's just like a square, the glyphs actually try to look like what they represent. So it's open, it looks like an open door. The square actually is a modern Chinese slang for blowjob. So the woman has the intention of a blowjob, and therefore the symbol means to show consideration for others, or to forgive, or to pardon. So in the classical Chinese poetry context of this symbol, the slave has forgiven her master, and therefore she has forgiven him, and that's the modern Chinese word for forgive. But on his skin, he has the word for anger. So he has not tattooed the slave blowjob intention. He has shown the slave anger intention. And that, my friends, my proud Maddie listeners, is your Chinese thingy of the day. I'll say I have adorned myself with the bountiful fruits of my social credit score. I do not have a low social credit score. I have a high social credit score. I've been banking my social credit for fucking a decade now, okay?